What's up everybody, Michael here. I help people master their life. And in this video, I'm going to tell you a secret on how to follow through with what you learn when you enter into higher states of consciousness. Stay tuned. There's so many avenues in life that we use these days to better ourselves, to take us into a higher consciousness. We have meditation, we have different stages of yoga, we have the new plant medicines that are making their way out into the modern world. And there's a lot of different things in this world that we can do. But the key to it is following through. And I call it the follow through method. And what that is that when we are in these higher states of consciousness, we have to be very aware of what comes to our mind and what to do. If we do not follow through with what we receive in these higher states, then the place that we go turns into just an escape and something that we do, but there's no follow through into the world that we come back to, and therefore we don't climb in vibration, or if we do, it's in a very small increments. Because when we go into these higher places, these higher states of consciousness, what comes to us is awareness. It's not that the higher state of consciousness that we tap into, yes, it's very healing, and yes, we get a lot out of it, but when we come back, the reason why we're kind of dropped on our face sometimes, and we're like, I was better for a week, and now I'm back to, the same stuff happening, it's because many times I found myself, and I'm seeing it a lot in other things, and it's just something that I'm taking notice to, is that we're not following through. And following through, it takes one word. It takes discipline. And it does take understanding and a little bit of guidance and mentorships if we don't know how to implement particular things into our life. But following through is so important. For instance, if you're in a meditation or you drink ayahuasca or another plant medicine and you have some things that come to you that you know that would benefit you if you changed or did, it's so important to incorporate the discipline into your life, to have that follow through, to change into the vibration that you were at when that awareness came to you. So for instance, if you're in a meditation and you're like, yeah, maybe I'm eating too much at this time, or I need to shift something around, or I need to have a conversation with someone, or maybe I should stop dressing a certain way, or you see yourself in a better light, then we must act the way that that person is in that better light. So for instance, for myself, in meditation, I thought about so many times about things that I want to paint, right? And I kept always thinking, I'm like, man, I should really paint these things. And guess what I did today? I sat my butt on the floor and I had all this stuff to do on my mind. I'm starting a business and I'm growing my social media and my coaching's picking up. So I'm like starting this business online. But yet I just sat my butt down and I painted a picture that I've seen in my mind for a long time. And this has been a very long time that every time I go into meditation, I think about this picture that I want to paint and how I want to surround myself with some of these pictures and paintings, because it'll allow me to get my inner reality out into this physical reality, which might be good to reflect upon, like kind of surround myself in good things. So finally I just sat down and I painted, and it felt so good. I kind of lost track of time. I lost track of all the things that I want to do, the world, and I didn't have an agenda. I just sat down with some colors, and the funny thing is that I'm colorblind, so it's always a thing for me to do, paint with a bunch of colors, and I followed through with what I thought about a long time ago, many times, and who knows what would have happened if I would have done it right away. So what I'm trying to say is be easy on ourselves. Understand that sometimes the follow through can't happen right away. Like, it's impossible, right? It's like, I need to lose weight. I need to stop smoking. I need to quit drinking. Yes, okay, the awareness is there. Now it's time to create the discipline and the framework in our life to support ourselves to make this change happen. Otherwise, we can meditate every single day, and all we're getting is about 20 minutes of some chill time, and then we go back into our world and nothing changes, and we wonder why these things aren't changing. It's because it takes the discipline and the change in momentum in our life and the follow through to create these changes that we want. Now, I've had a lot of tools in my life that I've used to help me create momentum. One of the best things I've done is that my partner and I, we just started fasting once in a while. from food. And it allows us to go into these higher states of consciousness. Yes, we might be a little more tired, we might be a little bit more fatigued, we might be we might be a little weaker. But what that does is it helps break loose that stuck energy within us that sometimes we need to create that change that we want. And it allows the intuition to kind of flare up. So what I'm trying to say is we have to create discipline. We have to do the follow through. We have to create these instances in our life that's going to allow us to be what we see in these higher states of consciousness. Otherwise, we're going to keep going there and coming back and nothing really changes. And if it's something that's very deeply rooted in our life and we want to change, it's going to take a lot of discipline. It's going to take a lot of push and oomph and grinding and falling back down and picking yourself back up again. But you know what? If we continue to follow through, one day you're going to just break free of these chains that you're trying to break. And one day they're going to be in the past because you're going to look down from it in a vibration that no longer is where you are. And that's the fast track to getting through things. It's not focusing on the particular issue. It's creating a disciplinary framework in your life that supports a higher consciousness. I'm going to say that again. It's a disciplinary framework that you create in your life that supports a higher consciousness, and you will not have to worry about any issue in your life. You just focus on that framework to change vibration, and then all of a sudden you're a different person every other month, every other week, every other year. You continue rising in vibration, and all these issues just seem to fade away, and then all of a sudden you look in the mirror and you realize that you don't have any problems in your life because you don't have to worry about any of the problems that you had because the framework is supporting you in constantly conquesting them and removing them from your life. And if little issues do come into your life, you're like, screw it, I'm just going to focus on my framework. And then the most beautiful thing that happens is that when you continue to rise in vibration, you change your framework up. And then the framework becomes this thing that you focus on. So you don't focus on these issues and the shadows that come up in your life, you focus on the framework. And I have learned this in my own life. I have transcended some very dark, deep, hard things, and the framework is what got me through. Because when you start to ascend into a higher state of consciousness, the most beautiful thing that happens is that you have to let go of your old framework. You have to adopt new things. You have to take yourself out of your comfort zone. You're like, oh my gosh, I've been tapping my head 3 times and twirling around and quacking like a duck every morning for 5 years, and all of a sudden I have this intuition telling me that I no longer need that. What do? What happens if I stop doing them? Am I going to start doing all my old things? Well, you got to have faith in yourself. You got to trust yourself that if the intuition is telling you, hey, maybe quacking like a duck and tapping yourself tapping yourself in the head 3 times every morning, it's not serving you anymore. It's time to find something new. All right, I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to break loose out of that. I'm going to bust through a new door, see what's in that room. I'm going to create a framework to support myself to get me out of where I am now. I use the intuition that I have now, and everything that I've learned up to this point, I create my own framework. I seek and I read and I learn and I expand and I conform to nothing other than my own self. My own self is the guidance to create the framework. Yes, so many people out there help you create framework in your life. And you can do exactly what they tell you to do. And it will help you a lot. But what will happen is you're going to hit kind of a plateau. And you have a decision to make. Am I going to be stuck on this person's framework? Or am I going to create my own? I'm going to take a little bit about what he told me. The awareness, the advice, the suggestion, check. Got it. But what this dude over here is doing this. Check. Got it. I'm going to create my own thing and do it and make my life better. Some people get up every day and they go running, or they do this and they do that. And is it good for them? Sure. Absolutely. Do I go running? No, I don't like running. But how about this? I know some people that go running every morning even though they're in pain. And running is not good if you're in pain. So that person runs every single day even though he has bad knees. And to myself, I'm thinking, Why are you running if you have bad knees? Why don't we find something else with low impact that gives you the same type of advantage, but without hurting your body? So we have to be very, very intuitive about ourselves on what we need at the given time in our life. I did a meditation for like 6 or 7 years. And finally one day, I got a message saying, hey, this is no longer serving you. And at first I was like, whoa, no way. This meditation is like my thing, man. It is like my thing. It is what I do. I pull over on the side of the road. I don't miss my meditations. And guess what? When I let it go, it was like I dropped this boulder on my shoulders, and then I was left like, now what? And then what happened was, that's a whole other thing, what I moved into, which I'm going to make a movie on. So look for that movie. I'm going to make that one. I'm going to tell you how to create your own system and how I dropped some things in my life and how to move forward into creating your own things. So in the past, I really did use some things that I learned. I paid good money to learn them, and they helped me so much. But now I'm at a place of realizing creating my own system and how important it is. Filter everything through your own consciousness. Don't skip your intuition and your consciousness and your gut and go right to the information like, this is truth. No. Filter, feel, connect to what we're learning, connect to what is, and then we're like, I'm going to take a little bit of that, I'm going to take a little bit of that, I'm going to reflect on that a little bit instead of just being like, this guy's awesome, he has, he's really good at what he does, I'm just going to do it. And what you may find is, you go do it, and then you're plateauing. Because what these people make is for their own consciousness. So no matter what people tell you, always use yourself in the same context as what you're learning. It's always you and what you learn. It's never just that. So when we connect into these higher states, whatever it is and whatever you learn, really bring it back down with you when you're out of that state and you're grounded, and move forward into creating that in your life slowly and surely. We don't want to just be like, oh my God, in meditation I was told to sold my house and go be a monk. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm like, okay, in meditation I may have learned that there might be something else in my life that I want to do. Right? There might be something else. So I'm just going to allow myself to be open to possibilities. And then I bring that back down and I keep that openness to possibilities, like that mentality, open in my life. So my family, I love you, be well, and follow through. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave me a comment. I love you.